Hello and welcome to the Extremis Publishing podcast. I'm Tom Christie, and it's a pleasure for this episode to be joined by my co-director, occasional co-writer and sister, Julie Christie.
Hi Tom.
Now, Julie has had a long and interesting career in a variety of different subject areas, and she's going to be talking a little bit today about how she got involved in publishing and writing. So Julie, having worked in a variety of different industries over the years, what was it about publishing that interested you particularly and made you want to start a career in it?
I guess that publishing was an interesting choice for me because I'd always had an interest in books. I'd always been an avid reader, and I'd done a little bit of writing as well, just for pleasure, for no other reason than that. And when it came to maybe about 8 years ago, we decided to have a conversation about if we could have a family business, what would we like to do? Because Tom and I have a very different set of skills, and we wondered what we could have that possibly brought out the best in all of them. So at that point, we just thought, what about digital publishing? Because that had just got to the stage of development that it was a viable option as a business. As well as from the digital publishing point of view, it was also brought on by the fact that Tom was being asked to provide more and more support for the books that he was actually producing for other publishers, proofreading them, how he set them up, and we thought, this seems a little bit strange. Why don't we just do something for ourselves that we could actually let us do that? So hence the reason we went down that path.
Yes, because often the challenges that you come up against are the ones that you expect the least.
Well, that's it. I mean, I guess it was one of those things we had bandied about so many ideas for a while. All of a sudden, it was one of those kind of light bulb moments about how we can work together, and I could use my skills. As I've mentioned, they're quite different to Tom's because I had a background in third sector, and community development and fundraising, as well as high-end sales as well. So it kind of, when we thought about it, lent itself quite nicely to that because Tom obviously had his writing skills and publishing skills. I also had the people skills. I'd done quite a bit of public speaking as well. So we just felt that the skills that we had just lent itself quite well to actually setting up a publishing business. And hence, 7 years ago, Extremis Publishing was born.
So as you say, we've been doing this for a few years now. What would you say are the particular aspects about publishing that you enjoy the most?
There's a number of different things that I really enjoy about publishing. I suppose that the first thing that I really loved and found really refreshing was the autonomy to basically do your own thing. And you're responsible for what you're doing. The work very much stops with you. So that is a really quite scary and challenging thought, especially when you first start out. But it's also quite exciting as well, because you have the final say in everything that happens. Extremis Publishing is you in essence. It's the thing that crystallises what's important to you and how you do business and your business ethic as well. The next thing, which is a really important thing obviously, is working with your authors, which I'm sure you agree, Tom, is a really good thing to do.
Oh, absolutely. And of course the important thing with any author is to let them know that their work is being treated with respect and that you're always consulting with them as the book's developed.
This is it. This is something that's so important to these authors. They've spent a lot of time, maybe years, in the making for this book that they have produced. And that's something we're really proud of as well. And for some of our authors, because of the fact we work digitally, we can maybe look at authors' books and publish different books in a way that maybe larger publishers wouldn't, more traditional publishers wouldn't. So it means that we've had quite a lot of first-time authors as well, and it's been lovely just to be able to talk them through the process of how they bring their book together, from their ideas and their first manuscripts to working on it, the typeset proof, the pictures. And the thing that never ever leaves us, and we've now brought out over, nudging 35 books almost, is the fact that when you get your first check copy sent through, that feeling never leaves about how amazing that is, and it's your hard work which has meant that this book is actually here to hold in your hand. So it's fabulous to have this book, after all your hard work that's been put in by the author and by you, to see it in its finished form.
Yes, as you say, I think the day that stops being exciting is probably the day that you've fallen out of love with publishing, because it's always so nice to see that book ready to go on the shelves and to find new readers all over the world.
That's true. And something else as far as my enjoyment for the job is concerned is that no 2 days are ever the same. I don't know who I'm going to be speaking to. I don't know what country they're going to be in, because we have inquiries from across the globe. And that is amazing. It might be a local bookshop. It might be someone across in the States. It might be someone who wants to know about having an event and having maybe students, that kind of thing. So it's lovely to be able to do that as well. And I guess that kind of leads on to my next thing that we both really enjoy doing, and that's talking to groups and organisations as well.
Yes, that's always an interesting part of the job, because you never really know until you get there what kind of questions you're going to be asked, or what particular aspects of publishing are of most interest to the people who've come along to an event like that.
I would say the question we're asked most often is, what do publishers look for when it comes to how do we get a manuscript to them, what are they looking for? And that's quite an interesting thing to talk to people about, and take the mystique out of that and to let them avoid the pitfalls. For example, if we ask someone for a bit of information about the book, we're looking for a summary and a synopsis and perhaps a couple of chapters. So just generally questions about how they get books published, how we publish them, how digital publishing works. These are all the kind of questions that people are really interested to know a little bit more about.
And I suppose on top of the traditional skills that are involved in publishing, there is now, of course, the additional dimension of multimedia approaches to publishing in terms of video and audio and various other internet-driven aspects of the business.
I guess because we started with the mindset of having a digital publishing service, that we knew that people were going to be interested in knowing a bit more about it. And from the start, we wanted to be different. We wanted to be able to provide our readers with some insight into our authors and their books. We made up our mind that we would have a bit of humour as well. So we always have a Christmas video which comes out at the start of December. And as you know, there are a few large stores out there who also have fascinating Christmas campaigns, and I'm sure it's almost a matter of time before they decide they'd like to come and work with us, so we can give them a few ideas for their campaigns for next year.
Well, what can I say? Hollywood or bust.
Well, absolutely. We also got involved with podcasts too, and we now have nearly 50 of them out, certainly by the autumn of this year, and that is just a great way for us to have a chat with our authors. Tom enjoys doing that. And it also means we can talk to people who are involved in industry, who are involved in other certain aspects of what we do with publishing, and they like to have a chat with us too. So that's been great too. As you can imagine, we had a few challenges when it came to the pandemic. Obviously, to keep everyone safe, while adhering to social distancing and public health rules, we did a lot of recording outside. And so you'll hear things like birds tweeting and sirens going off and cars going over speed bumps and things like that, which just helped to add to the charm of them, I guess, a little bit.
It's probably our own fault for recording them in the middle of a roundabout.
Do you think that might be some bearing on it?
Quite possibly. But you live and learn.
It was because of the multimedia approach that we have that meant we were awarded with the Scottish Prestige Award for Independent Publisher of the Year from Corporate Livewire last year. And that was an amazing feeling, because it meant that all the hard work we had put into it over the last 6 years at that point had been recognised for some of the things that we had done beyond just the writing, about how we treated our customers, how we treated our authors, the green aspects of our business as well.
Yes, because environmental sustainability is so important to every company now, and publishing is absolutely no different. So we at Extremis Publishing are part of the Publishing Declares Compact, which is an agreement amongst publishers to, where at all possible, reduce our carbon emissions and make sure that we are developing our company in an environmentally sustainable way. So to have that recognised was really important to us as well. And of course, at the moment, you and I have worked on 2 separate books together, both of them related to the Heart 200 touring route around central Scotland. Would you like to say a few things about that experience?
Yes, I think until we started writing that book, we lived in the area for many years, and you just don't realise how many fantastic things there are out there to go and visit. It was a real pleasure to be able to go and visit places that were basically right on our doorstep that we didn't know anything about, I'm ashamed to say. Doing the research for this book, there was no trial in that, because it meant that it opened up so many different areas, different places, fantastic views of the countryside, and we really met some lovely people when we were doing it as well, who were really keen to promote what the area had to offer. But what we also liked about the route, bearing back to our green issues, was the fact that this was responsible slow tourism. They didn't want anybody to be rushing through the area. We wanted people to be able to stop and look and take their time and come back time and time again to really get the full benefit of the area. But it has to be seen to be believed, I would have to say. So you need to come up and visit for yourself. But all I can say is I feel very fortunate to live in such a beautiful part of the world, and thankfully from the feedback we've had, we've heard people in Canada and Australia and America and Japan who all share that view as well, which is lovely too, to know that they've got the book, came over to see it, and have built up their own views and memories of the area.
Yeah, because I mean, certainly one of the things that I brought away from that experience was, the amount of fun that we had travelling around different places, meeting different business owners, taking photographs for the book. And I think what really jumped out to me, at least, was the fact that there were so many really innovative entrepreneurial minds in the area, so many people who had set up really, groundbreaking organisations of their own, and to actually meet with them and talk to them, that was really, for me, one of the highlights of the book.
I totally agree. It was a real pleasure, and that's why we then decided to go back and publish another book with some of the stories that we'd heard from our visits to different places. So that was just as much fun in a different kind of way. And I guess that we could probably write about 6. There's so many things to do in that 200-mile route.
Yeah, that's the thing, because the more that you visit it and the more that you read about it, the more things you discover.
Absolutely. It's an amazing place, so come and visit soon. Come to Heart 200, and that, I guess that's a plug for the area as well.
So looking back then, Julie, on the last 7 years and the work that we've done together, what kind of advice would you like to offer to anyone who is perhaps thinking about a career in publishing, or possibly a shift in career into the sort of literary world?
Oh, now that's a loaded question. I guess the first thing I'd be thinking about is you don't have to be young and with a degree and just coming out of university or college to do this. Because what I found was that I brought all of my experience from my previous careers to the business. I was well versed in chatting to people from every kind of walk of life and every kind of background. And I felt that experience played a big part in being able to talk to people about what we actually did do as a publishing house, and to explain to them, especially because obviously we're traditional publishers, I guess, in the sense of how we look after our authors, but how we produce our books is really quite different. So it was trying to explain to people. Tom and I both took a bit of time to do that, to let people know what we were doing and what we're all about, and to tell a story. But I used all the different information and connections and just the way of doing things, from organising different events and things from my past careers, to have brought this to the experience of Extremis as well. And I suppose, as well as that, I would say ask questions and do your homework. We took well over a year of solid work before we even thought about launching a book.
Yes, that's right. I mean, a whole lot of different skills involved that perhaps you don't initially think about. Things like double-entry bookkeeping, for instance, as well as social media and all of the different things that are involved in those particular aspects of running any business.
As well as things like tax, too, and And things like having ISBN numbers and having to get all of these things together and what kind of insurance to get. So all of these things before you even get as far as thinking about typesetting a book, and obviously getting your reputation built up. So you've got all that to think about as well. So do your homework and start to ask questions. And be prepared to have people who will help you in your quest to find out more. If you don't ask, shy bairns getting out. So really you need to just ask questions, speak to people, maybe people who've been in the industry, different elements of what they do. So, because there might just be a particular niche within what they do that you're particularly interested in. But equally, also be prepared that there are some people who are very protective of their work and won't get back to you too, and that's okay as well. I mean, don't expect it to be a quick process, I guess, as well, is what I would say. If you come from a publishing background and you've got a large number of connections and a bulging little black book, then that's fantastic and good for you to be able to go and continue that publishing dream that you've had. But if you're someone like me, it takes time for people to trust you and get to know you, because obviously you're a new kid on the block. And I've always made it my mantra that if you say you're going to do something, that you will do it. And that's the reputation we've built on the last 7 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken time, and it's been one of those kind of experiences where I think you're constantly learning and you're looking at new and different ways of doing things. But that being said, I don't think there's another more exciting industry out there, nor one that moves quite as fast or as unpredictably as publishing. And for that reason, it's a great industry to be involved in.
As I also mentioned earlier, there's also the fact that no 2 days are the same. So that also goes with some of we can get ideas completely out the blue for new books. And because the type of publishing that we do, it means that we are the little zippy speedboat, I guess, compared to some of the bigger publishers who obviously have plans well ahead because of how that they publish their books and print their books. So we can respond rapidly, and that can be great fun as well, just being able to go, right, okay, we can move that around and we can do this instead. And at the end of the day, if there's one thing that I'd like anybody to take away is follow your dreams. Who says that you have to do things in the same way as mainstream publishers and everyone else? Disrupt things. Do what you want to do and let people see when you do that where your passions lie, and really let them see that it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter what your background is. If you have the drive to want to do it and the passion to do it, that shows. And I would encourage anyone, as Tom says, because it's such an exciting thing to do, to come and do this too.
Well, Julie, thank you for sharing your thoughts today about publishing. I know that we have ambitious plans for the months ahead, so stay tuned for those. But in the meantime, I just would like to say thank you very much for taking the time today to speak with the listeners, and for saying a little bit about your background in the publishing industry.
Watch this space, folks. There's a lot of interesting things going to be happening soon. And I hope you tune into our podcast too on a monthly basis and see our videos too. So get involved in social media, like and share our posts, and we hope to see you at one of our events very soon.
So thanks very much for listening today. I hope that you'll tune in again soon.
If you would like to find out more about advertising on the Extremis Publishing podcast, please visit their website at www.extremispublishing.com for details.